But everybody's talking about that we are the beings which are made of energy. The science says the same thing now, and that energy gets interrupted or blocked because of our external exposure or the clouded thoughts. And any mystic or an energy healer is someone who works with that energy. It's as simple as that.
Hello and welcome to Holistic Circle podcast, Spiritual Conversation. My name is Philipp Kobald. We are reaching out to people who are passionate about spreading light, love, and joy. And my first guest from Pakistan, Binesh Toor. Oh, I did it wrong. I knew it.
Yeah,
Please
no,
help
you
me.
did. No, you did it absolutely right. It's Binesh Toor.
Oh, you're so kind.
Yeah, you're there.
Well, I'm super excited because I have my secret list of countries where I had guests and where I haven't guests. And I'm so happy it's a big country, yours, and have one more on my list. So,
Okay.
but that's not the only reason I'm excited to meet you. We talked, I think, almost like a year now, up and down and again, of you joining the podcast. And I know it took quite a courage and excitement to be here. So very much welcome, Binesh, for joining.
Thank you, Philip. And yes, the feeling is mutual. I'm really excited, especially when you said like a secret country. That makes me more inquisitive, though I do understand why you said that. But yes, I'm so excited and looking forward to our conversation today.
I think in the international podcasting world, there are not so many guests from Pakistan than from other countries where people are much more outgoing. You know what is even harder than Pakistan is South Korea. It's impossible to get a guest from South Korea. Whatever you do, I can jump. I've sent, I think, more than 100 emails to all kind of people from South Korea, and it's always no thank you. I think it's impossible.
Yeah, I guess every nation on the vibration level, as we are talking about, is spirituality, energy. That's what my background is. There's a time for healing, and then there's a time to grow and come out and see the world. So I guess we all are in that evolutionary stage, not just as an individual being, but as a nations, as countries, and as a collective community.
See, I knew it. This will be a horrible podcast. You're so kind. You're so nice. You always will find such a wonderful way to explaining. I'm telling you, I went to university where half the people were from Japan and no one ever talked to me. So obviously I have an energy that the whole world wants to talk to me, but people from certain part of Asia just look at me like, oh no, this guy is way too dangerous. So something is, I think it's me, but you are of course much more kind. Okay,
What
let's
you
go.
see?
Let
The beauty. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
there's beauty.
go.
I know you are into, we will talk about poetry and things like
Yeah.
this that so many people have no idea about the other side of Islam, but we will come to that in a second. Let me quick, before our guests are thinking that we are completely going crazy today. Welcome to our podcast. And of course, this will
Thank you.
you see that I'm excited. I'm very positive because not only it's my first guest from Pakistan, but also will be able to talk about very interesting things that most probably you will hear about the first time, Sufis and philosophy and so many things that will, I hope, inspire you and bring you a new vision of a part of the world that most people only know through the media. And I think there's very poorly depicted of what actually used to be there and can be there and is there and hopefully will be there in the future. So let's start this professional. Maybe give us a couple of minutes of your personal background story so we can then go and talk about interesting things.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you once again, Philip. And yes, as an introduction, you said almost all, so I'm just going to extend it from there, that we ourselves have this, how we have been portrayed to the world. So my story is no different. And yes, sitting over here, coming and talking about energy healing is something wasn't an easy thing for me to start with because that's not what my professional journey started as. And yes, any other weird kid, I used to think about why there are very few prodigies in the world. why some people are born special. And what about me? What about so many others? And most importantly, bringing the history of the theology into it. Like, why all the miracle makers were in the past, were in the history? Why can't we have that power in today's time when actually we need it more? Also, the journey started from there with a simple query. And only with time, I get to realize that the prodigy is not just about a few people who the world has recognized. It's about every one of us. It's just that a few people get the opportunity to being recognized. And for the others, like me and most of us, it's a life journey, like an onion, peeling ourselves and to find out our true potential. So, yes, it took me a very long time through different twists and turns in life to find out about what I'm good at, what is my speciality. And yeah, that surprised me that, yes, energy healing is something, and that's what I'm here to talk about.
And if I may add, most of these special people, they have a horrible life. So I think it's better to be one of the not special ones, because when you burn on such a high energy levels, it usually burns from inside out, or it burns your friends and family and children around you. So most of these blessed people actually have a real bad life. So I guess if I could choose, I'd rather be insignificant but happy and have a couple kilos too many and enjoy, instead of being special and have no. But it's just a personal note.
No, actually, it's very interesting. You reminded me of that Matrix character that chose to be eating, that one character that he was eating meat and said, like, there's a fun in it. The beauty is we all are special, just like days for waking up and the night is for sleep. Sleep seems very comforting because we have no worries of the world. However, we can't sleep forever. That's the same thing about the spiritual or the special energy. We all are special. And in this lifetime, if we can choose not to live in a denial and accept the specialness that is, we are, I guess, whatever the challenges that are in front of us with reference to it, we can handle them gracefully.
You said that your personal journey, that you were educated in something much more serious. I think you worked
Yeah.
with computers and stuff like that originally, or in somewhere that I not 100%
Okay.
remembered.
Okay,
Then
let me
you,
tell you.
sorry, and then you transform to energetic healing, which is not as popular in your country, to say it
Yes.
mildly. Then,
Yeah.
so let me ask this a little bit to give people an understanding. Who are your clients that are brave enough to take that adventure of spiritual healing? How much effort it takes to convince people, or also courage to go out there and make that offering? And I know that your family is reluctant and not so, oh my God, this is going to work out for you. So, because people in the West, they don't know what it takes for you to sit here, to be here, and to also offer to your countrymen that kind of a services, that there's a lot of question marks around it. Maybe a little bit let people understand.
That's a very interesting question, Philip. And yes, okay, it's a long one. I'm trying to answer it. Okay, the first thing is energy healing or spirituality. Let's talk about spirituality that comes. In this side of the world, we usually associate it with religious activities. And when it comes to the religious activities, of course, there's a certain persona involved with those practices. So it's not like the spirituality isn't being practiced in Pakistan, but there's a certain way people have been doing it. And it's mostly associated with the religious persona of it. So for me, yes, taking spirituality as it is, because I talk in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. It's all science. There's nothing religious about it. And it's difficult to come up in the way that I am. And we say, okay, it's a different field altogether. And yes, women can be into it. It has nothing to do with being religious. And we can handle. Okay, that's a very complicated question, actually.
I try to keep it as open as possible. We don't want to make a soap opera out of it. But first of all, are you doing it live or are you doing it online mainly?
Okay, okay. I'm doing it online. And you talked about the West and the East. What I would say that I've been grateful that the first client I worked with was from the West, and it gave me the courage to be more open about it because initially I was reluctant to come and announce myself being as an energy healer or someone who works holistically with the challenges of mental or emotional health that people have been facing. And yes, once done work with people, I got the confidence that the chakras or the spirituality has nothing to do with Hinduism or Islam. And we can talk about it and we can work with it.
Of course, I have to ask you, do you have male
Mm.
and female clients or just female or just male or how is the mixture?
Yeah, it's a great combination because when it comes to the emotional turmoil or the mental clarity anybody is seeking, luckily I have attracted both male and female. Nonetheless, it's true to say that I have more clients when it comes to the masculine energy. Maybe that's what I've been attracting. But yes, I've worked with both.
Right. And these people, are they most probably from an educated background or business oriented people? Or can you a little bit give us an idea who is
Yeah.
so brave in Pakistan to
Oh,
come to
yeah.
you?
Yes. Let's talk about Pakistan because I've got so many clients from Pakistan and they have been educated people because, of course, with education comes awareness. There's very little that I have to tell them that chakras are not something, it is a part of yoga. It has nothing to do with Hinduism as religion. And most importantly, for my surprise, this is something I'm actually one of the reasons why I've been here is that most of the literature on which I discovered myself that what I've been good at came from the internet. And it's the Hinduism and yoga primarily that has been promoted in the West since from the last more than 1 century. Hence, you open internet, you'll find out most of the books that are available on spiritual healing are coming from yoga culture. However, the same subject has been discussed in Sufism, that's the mystical side of Islam, but there's very little materials you are going to find out over the internet. That's why I was like so amazed that the thing which I was considering so reluctant in the beginning, that am I promoting yoga, which most of the people think is a sect of Hinduism, when I discovered, no, all the mystics, all the occult teachers has been talking about energy in their own ways, in their own language. And it's just like in today's time, we are more than versed with the information that is readily available over the internet. So let it be Islam or Hinduism, as in terms of yoga, or I'm sure it must be in the Christianity in one form or the other, which I haven't explored yet. But everybody's talking about that we are the beings which are made of energy. The science says the same thing now, and that energy gets interrupted or blocked because of our external exposure or the clouded thoughts. And any mystic or an energy healer is someone who works with that energy. It's as simple as that. And yes, talking about the Pakistani people, most of my clients are highly educated, coming from the corporate world, and they do understand, and mostly they feel burnout. And yes, nowadays we are talking about the spiritual crisis as well. And people go through that. It's again a burnout form on the energetic level. So I'm glad that I don't have to do much of confessing to people or convincing to people rather to apply and try this energy healing modality. Most of the people do their homework as well.
Of course, and maybe to add to it, it is simply the British occupation of India, which of course opened them to this yoga and those things. And that's how those people who travel and all those books and the excitements. So that's maybe why it's so well known, this channel, because it's for the
Oh yeah, and
practical.
and mostly internet is filled with books that are in English, and
Of
most
course.
of the yoga books have been translated widely into English. You open, you go, and you can find out. But if you have to find out a book from an Islamic mystic on the healing and the chakras and all that, is going to be impossible for me. For anyone,
Difficult.
you have to go to the libraries and maybe find out some text, either in Persian or some other language. So yes, it's a matter of access. So people have an
Well,
access to yoga, but not to the mystics of Islam.
I'm lucky to speak German because there are a couple of books in the German language. Interestingly enough, there were German mystics who looked at this stuff, and that's why we are fortunate. But there's definitely less in English, interestingly. You're absolutely right. So there you go.
And would like to give an example, just talking about Rumi.
Yeah, we are
Everybody
both
in
fans,
West, everybody in West is talking about Rumi.
of
Why?
course.
Because it has been translated in so
Yes.
many languages, primarily in English. But the bottom line is saying all the mystics in the
Yeah.
world speaks the same language.
And he's also funny. I mean, who cannot love him? It's such a pleasure to read him, and it's enjoyable. And you have the sense of humor coming from him. It's not only that he's translated, I also think yeah, I enjoyed it. So there
Yeah,
you go.
because spirituality doesn't have to be boring.
It shouldn't be. It's
Because it shouldn't be, because the way I see it, intellect it really is something that gives you a burden. However, if you are wise, you know when to be done. So
that's another.
the
Here we go.
beauty.
Now we're starting. Now everybody's fasten your seatbelts. We're gonna spread Sufi wisdom now. And
Yeah,
it's a
because
famous one to the king, huh? It's a famous one. Yeah.
yes, that's what they say. A wise one knows when to walk away. They don't fight, they don't argue. So as you said, like I would, it has its own turmoils, but that's exactly what Rumi said. Then the light enters you, where you have the wounds. So yes, this is all. Suffering is, of course, part of the process, but just so as for the car to become diamond, we see it everywhere around us. That a little rubbing, a little polishing is there. It's inevitable. But what you become out of it is what you serve to the world. That
Have
becomes
you
your trademark.
have you been following that there's actually an increasing interest in the US with actually modern Sufi, especially with heart healing? There's quite a trend coming up there where Americans basically trying to establish they do acknowledge that Sufi comes out of Islam, but of course it's basically more like a light reference. But they very much focus on heart meditation and heart breathing and heart practices. So actually there is a quite big and strong movement and some very energetic authors who are pushing this forward. I don't know if you have been following this trend.
Yeah, I guess there are one, two guys. I forgot the name of the guy. He's talking a lot about the heart frequency and heart meditations. I saw the gentleman a lot over YouTube. See, the interesting part is if you look at the evolution of human, it's not difficult to find out that today we see a lot of spirit man. Just like in the beginning, they were cavemen. The consciousness or the awareness of life was little, and people were not bothered neither about God or about unseen forces. And then, of course, you see the survival men, the people who grew the crops, And then they look at the sun and the storms. That's where you see people started to believe in unseen forces which are affecting their life. And we see the people started worshipping God, sun as God, rain as God, and so on. And then it's so obvious, no matter west or east, we find out the thinking man. And the thinking man realized that, okay, the sun and the moon and all these heavenly bodies or simple planetary bodies are doing their job just like we are here. And we're doing our work. We live, we born, we live, we die. So there must be something beyond them. And they give a name to a God, an unseen God. Now, coming to your part, which you're talking about, is a lot of people going for this heart frequency and meditations they are doing. I believe it has to do with emergence or the evolution of human being a spiritual man. Because you see, people were talking about the brotherhood and the sects, and now it's more about humanhood. And people are understanding, and the science is actually, oh my God, we are living in great times. You know why? Because for the first time, at least I have experienced this, and that makes my heart go, wow. Then science is supporting spirituality. In the Darwin's time, it was science against spirituality or religion for that matter. And now if you look at quantum mechanics, the more I study it, and the more it's like, wow, they're talking the same things with the mystics have been talking like ages ago. And now the modern man, just like in West, the educated people are understanding the same thing, that we all are one energy, the void, the universal quantum field, and how if somebody is making a fight or a war in one part of the world, we can't say, "Ah, we are safe." No, it's going to come to us either through the environment or through the energy. So we are in amazing times when we are coming to this understanding that, okay, I'm safe, all is great. It's not going to work. If somebody is suffering in some part of the world, it's coming to us. Through this etheric field, through this resonance, it comes to us as a spiritual load. And that's why you see how this energy healing came into the West. It's like people thought if you'll be rich, you have all the facilities in life, you're supposed to be happy. But the more you acquired all those things, the more people started to have a lack of meaning in their life. The spiritual inquiry came from, and that's what I think, to find out the meaning in life. And the meaning of life comes from having your awareness and perception expanded. It cannot feel like we are living in this part of the world and everything is fine. So yes, human resonance and the heart meditation, I believe, is something to do with we all are connected. And if we raise our vibrations, we are actually doing the work, not just for ourselves, for everyone around us. So in terms, we all are contributing to this spiritual and human evolution of the society at large. You doesn't have to be a spiritual guru to
Yes.
be accountable for what you are. Every one of us is contributing to the greater good or bad. So we just have to choose every day where we are
The,
standing.
the reason why I asked you is simply because I think it's so funny that that Eki is a Japanese guy who started this whole thing in Hawaii, and for whatever reason, slowly it's coming now back to Japan. And now I'm thinking it's so funny that the Americans starting with Sufi heart healing, and it's going to get popular, and then might come back to Pakistan. This is just more for me the absurdity of life. That and there's clearly more yoga centers in America than in India,
Yeah.
and it's all I think it's rather absurd in a good and funny way. But of course, you are so nice and kind explaining how mankind developed from caveman. I was just missing that you mentioned the smartphone man. That's the next step of evolution, and it's really not going up. It's the first time in 8,000 years we're actually going down evolution-wise. So
Okay, I think we can never go down.
we
This
do.
journey, this journey is uphill. It's just
No.
sometimes it's okay. Let me say that. It's just like sometimes, okay, it's just like we feel on the quantifiable 3D level that much is more impactful. It doesn't work the same way in the world of energy. Look at the atomic bomb. What atomic bomb is? It's the smallest atom with the most strongest energy. So when we look at the world, we see, okay, 5 billion or maybe 3 billion or whatever, the X amount of people seems like doing this. So the world is going downhill. But it's actually a few. If their energy is so vibrant, it has the potential to change the course. So
Right.
on the energy level, things that say spooky, and that's what I believe is beautiful.
It's horrible to talk with somebody so nice like you. That should be illegal. Yes, but I will try to survive this hour of positive thinking, believing, and I know that you truly do, and it's amazing. My cynical Western spirit is not be
No,
able
that's
to handle
great.
so much
See,
positivism.
no,
But
that's the polarity. All it's not about being positive or negative. What I think is, as long as you have an option to have different perceptions of the same event, it can be anything, but one have to be very open about how many other possibilities we can take off. One person is saying, okay, if the tree is dead, okay, there's no life, it's over. And another person said, no, see, this tree is going to be the fruit for the soil. And from that soil, the possibility can be so many other lives emerging. So yeah, it's not like being positive. It's just like to look at so many different possibilities. And as the science said, everything that we create started from the mind. So if we are going to make better ideas, making better perceptions, or at least wider, is having to have, or at least welcoming different overviews about different or the same scenarios. So I think that can make life interesting.
okay, I will control my heartbeat.
And yes,
Give us a
and by the way, on the energy level, it's nothing to do with negative or positive. That's the job of the religion to tell you what is right and wrong. On the energy, it's just about high polarities, or no, polarity may not be the right word. High vibrational energy, or the low vibrational energy. And you don't need any any teacher to tell you what if you're in the high vibration. Because once you're in a high vibration, each cell of your body, including your heart, is going to tell you that.
see, when I practiced the no vibration, 20 years of intensive practice of neither high, neither low. But that is a very different conversation. We might have some other time.
That's the flow. Yeah, we'll
That's
talk about the flow as well.
that is definitely a very different conversation. And I know I'm very lonely at my own podcast because all my guests are into high vibration. And I'm always saying, people, balance, zero vibration. That is the goal of goals to be found. To stop with that high vibration nonsense. Find the middle ground. This is where things are happening. But I'm alone at my own podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, but okay, I'm not. So let us give our viewers, they now been with us quite a while. Maybe from your own words, you don't have to be a historian or anything, but could you spend a couple of minutes to give people understanding what Sufism means? If you want to, if you feel that you're up to it, I know you read like tons of it, but make it simple so people a little bit understand what is the essence of their mystics. We know there are Islamic mystics, what is it, 7, 6, 7, whatever century and before, and give people maybe a little bit of a view of your own understanding what it means. I would be very interested to hear your not Wikipedia explanation of what for you Sufism is.
Okay. Thank you for asking this question. Indeed, it's very close to my heart because my personal and spiritual journey starts with a lot of conflicts. As I was not introduced to spiritualism, especially the mysticism of the Sufis, as I've told you, because of the inavailability of the material that has been. And in the normal culture, through the texts, we don't get introduced to mysticism that much from where I am from. So it has to be a personal quest. I felt very divided initially, as I've told you that it's what yoga is what I'm more inclined towards. So after going through the beautiful work of our mystics, Abdul Qadir Jilani, Rumi, most of the people do know, it became, okay, it has been a how moment for me to understand that all these mystics have been talking about a unified field of consciousness. Yeah, it's not about Wikipedia. That's what I experienced. And it's like seeing and experiencing God through your own inner journey. And that is so liberating for a rebel like me, who, even in today's time, most of the people are having religious crisis because they question too much. And most of the religious authorities do not have an answer to that. So mysticism is so interesting because whoever the mystic you are going to read, they are not going to ask you to follow their principles or rules. They're going to give you the tools to explore yourself. And when you go for the self exploration, you encounter with the same energy in maybe in a whole different way. Just like my name as is Sheel or Heel. Now, the name of a Sheel isn't in the history. She wasn't a mystic that I follow. She wasn't even an avatar from the Hindu pantheon of gods. This is a name which I have experienced of that energy, of that unified field of consciousness, of the universal power, source, whatever you would like to call it. So the beauty of mysticism is open, valid for anyone. It's just like change of words, because the mystics of Islam were living on the eastern side. They had their experiences based on their environment. But the message is same, even if you are in the 21st century or maybe somebody comes from 100 years ahead. If they're going to read it, what they're going to find out is they're talking about an energy field, which is conscious, an unseen force, which has an effect on our lives. How you can interact with that energy, that's where your own journey starts. You can do it through meditation. In your case, you can do it with no vibration. Somebody can do it not a vibration like me. Somebody could do it being, I talk too much. You said like the middle ground. In Sufism, there is a practice of being angry. I went to one of a small town and I've seen a place, and that Sufi was highly revered. And when I come to know, it used to remain angry all the time. And he has great powers and all that. And I used to wonder, what's so great about being angry? And only then I figured out, it's so difficult to be angry all the time. He attained, so called, his enlightenment or his way to interact with the unified or know the secret of universal power through being angry. So there's no one fine rule for it. Any way you choose, I think you can reach somewhere.
Well,
I
thank you
don't know
for
if
your
it makes sense.
This is your
Okay. Well, it
personal.
doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be. This is your personal take. And maybe if I do 2 seconds of Wikipedia, so to say, for the people who now want to put in perspective, of course, the Sufi is as you said, Islamic mystics, and they express their journeys or their practices. They're later on a lot of brotherhood. Some are secret, some are half secret or open throughout the whole Islamic empire. It's usually male, or so far is,
No, they are both.
I said usually male.
Okay. Good.
Usually male. Wikipedia has to be correct.
No. Okay. Well, I would see that because what you were saying for the Wikipedia is maybe because in literature that you find out of most of the people are male. And just so many women in West used to write with their secret back names of male or anonymous in the
Yes,
past because people
Shakespeare.
did not, yes, people would not accept a woman writing to be legitimate or worth reading or can learn from. So most of the women used to practice that. The same for mysticism, I'm assuming. There might could have been a lot of work that would have been done from women, but it never saw the light of Wikipedia for the reason that it hasn't been documented by their names. So maybe there's a lot of work of women. See, that's my
Okay,
my turn on feminism.
but it's great. But I specifically was referring to the brotherhoods and organized forms that we know about, and that was male predominant. The organized groups. I believe that the mystics are as much male and female, but I was talking about these organizations and the practices. And the interesting thing for the technicians out there listening, Sufism can be explained as a vibration, because there's categorization of different mystic schools. And of course, the Sufis are the vibrational or directly connected with vibrational practices. If it's a dancing where they're spinning, where they're basically mimicking the spinning of the energy, the high energy vibration, they're spinning them
See?
inside the high vibration. But they also have beautiful schools of poetry where they've put into words basically the god mystics through these little stories and so forth, which I think is wonderful. And there we find connections to the Jewish faith, we find connection to modern Freemasonry. We find this everywhere. It's a very interesting part for people to follow. And of course, we have also healing practices, chakra healing and things like that. And of course, things that are similarish to acupuncture and so forth. So they were really studying. They were highly educated men, were globally educated men, and they tried to. Alchemy is a big point because Western alchemists through the Crusades were Sufi taught, or at least experienced Sufi medicine and things like that during the Crusades, and got healed and wandered and things like that. And that's why, so to say, there's a lot of Sufi knowledge.
Here, yeah, I would
You
just
can
like
take
to add,
over, please. You be
thank you.
Wikipedia.
You just talked about medicine. So I would like to make another point that
Thank you.
most of the time people are talking about Ayurveda.
Of course.
And it's I think it's top selling. You see the products on Amazon and everywhere. It's Ayurveda herbal medicine.
Be careful. I
Same.
have a medical degree in Ayurveda.
Okay, great. I love.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I have a degree, but I don't care.
I'm a pro herbalist. Pro.
Okay, me
But
too.
the interesting point is the same herbs, the same information is in Islam with the name of hikmah. So see, what I'm trying to point out is a parallel. Most of the people know about Ayurveda, and they are having their degrees now, the youngsters. But very few people know about hikmah. Hikmah is the same. It's working with the herbal
It's more
medicine or
advanced.
working with plants. And talking about schools, I think talking about schools, which the Wikipedia talks a lot about. When Rumi started, he was all alone. I'm just giving you a reference of Rumi. And when people look at, okay, this guy is doing something great. What he's doing, let us follow. And so there comes the people who follow that one wanderer. Mysticism also starts with wandering.
Yes.
And there's one person, because you cannot wander with having a group of close friends and buddies. However, through their solitude, you learn and earn something in you. And then people say, okay, he's doing something amazing, what he's doing. And from there, the rest of the people who vibe on the same energy come together, and that's where the school happens. I guess religions happens the same way. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, I'm in the Hikmah, Chakra, Natai, that's what they call in Islamic mysticism, all comes to the energy centers. And I'm so glad the same thing the quantum mechanics is talking about, that we are energy beings, quantum fields, and all that. So yeah, we have a lot of scope of spiritual man, and not the mobile man.
It is, I think you're in a very lucky position. I don't know if you realize it or not, or most probably do, or you will, because there's so much treasure of knowledge. As you said, it's not been so much translated into English. It's not so much predominant in the internet all around. But as you said, coming back to the alchemy, the doctors, the Islamic doctors of the time were highly advanced compared to what Europe has. And they manipulated herbs in ways, and that's basically close to medical alchemy in so many different ways. So it was highly advanced, but there's, as you said, there's not enough written about it, and starting to maybe
not much translated. Yeah,
much translated. That's correct.
no,
Thank you.
no.
So I think that you will have an interesting life ahead of you, because if you really will start to become an ambassador, an agent, as a person that will come to more podcasts and start spreading the word, and maybe translate some of these things or put them together in your own work. I think that there's a lot of people out there who would right now would love to pick up a book and read about it, because as you said, we've been through Ayurveda, and I have a medical degree in traditional medicine and a degree in Ayurveda, and it's far superior to Islamic medicine, and it would be so much more interesting. So people like me would study it more deeply. And so I think you're the beginning of a trend. You could even see yourself as a trendsetter. And I'm very jealous in a sense, because I always wanted to be the beginning of a trend. I wanted to be a trendsetter, but my world is written up and down the square. My world, everything, there are 100 books on everything. So to sit here on such a huge treasure of knowledge and treasure of information, you're a bit jealous here.
I'm loving it. Okay, by the way, one thing I do would like to add, Philip, that and this very thoughtful of you. I never thought about it, but I'm definitely going to look into it. What inspires me of today's time, apart from all the lows and the ills that are associated with this overstimulation of information through www. But what I love about it is these three words only open the world to us, where there's no boundary, where you do not need any visa. You just write www, and there you are in the Library of America or in the Library of Germany, anywhere you have an access to. And I believe that's a portal where we all, that's a portal we all are together, and the information that we'd like to share or to grab is so convenient. All we have to do is to be on this www available and share information. So whatever we have, just see how we could have been possibly met in any other times than today's time. Like where I am, like we don't even have what could be the chance of us having this conversation, even through a pen or paper or through a letter. We wouldn't have met.
If you believe in energy correlation, we would have met anyway. That you and your high
energy,
vibration.
That exactly. I believe in the energy, and energy has created this web.
Now I got
Energy
you.
has created this web.
Last question. please help the people who are listening now, mainly from the US, and just give them maybe some personal word if you want, if you think it's a good idea, some kind of a message. What, because make a commercial for Sufis in a learn. What would you get to read it, to study it? What would a regular person now watching from the America being interested in spirituality have studied maybe yoga or Tai Chi or whatnot, and now Sufi, make a little commercial of what it might bring them, what it might give them, what they might get out of it, if that's something you would like to, as a last point, make a statement if you feel like.
Okay, that's a big responsibility. However, I will try to start and in as modest way as possible. When I look at this social media, I see, especially and sadly from West sometimes, that when it comes to Islam, the pictures and the emotions they depict in it is fundamentalism. My take on this and my request to everyone who is aware and open-minded is that there are all kind of people in every faith they practice. Uh, Less and more is not the point. No faith teaches anyone to be of doing something that is quote, which that is not in relation to perform best in the society at large. However, Sufism is one of the way if you really truly try to understand Islam, then maybe Sufism is a gateway to that. And you'll be surprised to know that the people you think as tribals, the tribal mindset have been so full of compassion, information, and knowledge that can resonate with you. And above all, yes, the more you will get to know about who we are, how many shades of Islam is there, the more you can see less judgmental. So yeah, I really don't know. Everyone is smart enough to make their own decisions about what they would like to pursue. But all I can say is, like anybody else, we have our own struggles. But what makes us beautiful is that there's a trier of information that can help today's world in terms of what kindness looks like, what to work with energy looks like. So yeah, have an open mind, learn as much as one can, and yeah, maybe you can benefit. There's so many Rumis there. There's so many.
Maybe if I'm allowed to add, in a sense, what drew me many years back to Sufism when I was reading whatever I could get my hands on, is simply I enjoyed the humor a lot. And we all have our right to find our own path, but to me, it resonated a lot that this is some allegorical, the poetry and this stuff. That was the stuff that really opened me. I was not searching for discovering the Islam, but I had a lot of question, and seeing those guys wandering around the desert, making fun of themselves, making fun of the society, and all of it that comes along with that early Sufis, it really gave me a personal sense of how to tackle spirituality with calmness, with humor, and not to take it too serious. And that's what I personally took out of it. And so I think there's a massive treasure that the world should not ignore. The Sufi writings and all that we know, it's a it's one of the big spiritual teachings on the planet that, as you are right, because of the bad reputation of Islam the last couple of years, have not been spread as much as it should have been. That would be my
I'm
take.
so glad you said that. Honestly, I really loved your take. Put them by, but maybe because you have been so used to about the podcast. But nonetheless, yeah. See,
Thank you.
the world need more people like you, being open to information, being open. Because that's what they say. You can't s- exactly know what's in the book just by its cover. Yes, go ahead. Be fearless. Explore more.
Absolutely. Thank you, Binesh, so much that we made our podcast happen. I know it took a lot of courage and energy to come here, and I hope this for you will be the first of many more podcasts in the world, and that you will spread and alert people that there is a treasure to be discovered. And thank you. And I wish you good luck with your practice. More and more clients who are brave enough to step out of their comfort zone. And I only wish you the very best. And thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you so much, Philipp. Thank you so much for your time. It was your energy that made me sit here and talk to you. And yes, I'm smiling. I don't do it that often. But yes, thanks for calling me. It was fun being with you. God bless you.